there was an opportunity. He said, "Hey, man, when there is a job opportunity," I was 17 at the time. So I said, "Well, you know what? I can go check it out." Went there, got a part-time job after school. And then one of the cool things, I got to see cars, I got to meet mechanics, talk to them all day. But the most coolest thing for me was getting paid to do what I like doing. I got to say, money was one of the cool things that got me into the automotive. But just being around the motorheads, talking to the guys, it got in my blood. And I just stuck with it after that, selling auto parts and learning how to do things on my own car, networking with the other technicians. Me, 17 years old, didn't have any knowledge about automotive other than just doing my oil changes and stuff. Really got into it, and it just stuck with me after that.
When you're 17 and broke but love cars, a job at the local parts counter feels like striking gold. You get to talk horsepower, learn from real technicians, and you get paid to do it. That's exactly how our guest, Ray Lopez, fell headfirst into an industry he's never left. Coming up, David Wofford introduces an old friend with a big smile and an even bigger story about how curiosity turned into a career. This is Driven to Success. Hi, I'm Vic with Shop Owner Coach, and you are with us at Driven to Success. David Wofford is my partner in crime, and David has brought a very special guest with us today, Ray Lopez. And so I'm going to ask David to introduce, share a little background story, and if you know something interesting, go ahead and throw that in too.
Absolutely, Vic. Well, appreciate everybody and appreciate your time listening to this podcast. Guest speaker today is Ray Lopez, and Ray Lopez and I have known each other for quite a few years. I don't want to kind of release how old I actually am, but through quite a few years, of course, you can see he's the younger looking of the two out there. But I had the opportunity to meet Ray years and years ago in the parts business, and really the number one thing that just drives me to Ray is his attitude. He's always smiling. He's always in a great mood. Even if something might be bothering him, you can't tell because he's just infectious to be around. So Ray, welcome to Driven to Success.
Hey, David, thank you so much. And Vic, I'm really glad and excited to be here with you guys. I like the intro, special guest, and the excitement about my past and how we met. So I'm excited to hear what goes forward from here.
So I tell you what, why don't we just kind of get into it, Ray? It's really interesting in our industry when people listen to podcasts, just kind of see, how did you get started? Where was the starting point? How did you migrate into the parts business? So if you can give us kind of a brief history and let us know how your world began in the parts business.
Sure, absolutely. I remember I was in high school, and one of my best friends, we went to elementary from, I think we met in second grade. We went to middle school to high school together, and he got a part-time job at a local auto parts facility in the Houston market where I live. And he told me about his job. It was his first job. He really liked it. Had our own cars and we used to tinker with them. And there was an opportunity. He said, "Hey, man, when there is a job opportunity," I think I was 17 at the time. So I said, "Well, you know what? I can go check it out." Went there, got a part-time job after school. And then one of the cool things, I got to see cars, I got to meet mechanics, talk to them all day. But the most coolest thing for me was getting paid to do what I like doing. So I got to say, money was one of the cool things that got me into the automotive. Of course, just like anything, you have career ambitions when you're in school, but just being around the motorheads, talking to the guys, it got in my blood. And I just stuck with it after that, selling auto parts and learning how to do things on my own car, networking with the other technicians. Me, again, 17 years old, didn't have any knowledge about automotive other than just doing my oil changes and stuff. Really got into it, and it just stuck with me after that.
Fantastic. So really the next question that comes up, and I'm going to steal this one from Vic, but we're always interested to know, when you started driving, what was your first car, and was it the same car that kind of got you into the parts business?
Well, you know what? That's an interesting question because it's a yes and no kind of question. My first car, my father provided it to me, and it was a 1975, I think,
Whoa.
Pontiac Bonneville. This thing was huge. And you guys know me. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, standing at 5'4" in a big Bonneville. This thing was a boat. I remember getting on the freeways, and it would actually rock like a boat when I got on the freeway. The cool thing is when I took all my friends out, everybody could fit in there, and we could probably put like 10 people in the trunk. I mean, it was huge. But that was my first car. I didn't really take to it I didn't like it as much, but I needed a set of wheels, so I used that, and, thanks for my father for buying it for me. But then when I got the job and started saving my own money, the first car that I purchased, was a 1971 Pontiac Firebird, and that was a
Ooh.
love. I love that car. Of course, back then, it was manual windows and things like that. I mean, it was pretty hot. It was red. I put some Krager wheels on it, some big, road hugger tires. I mean, it was really, really cool.
Well, I wanna hop on the Pontiac bandwagon. So I was a poncho guy too.
Mhm.
So 1969 Firebird, and then dropped it to 455 out of a Bonneville like you're talking about. And you're right. One of the things about those big old Bonnevilles, you could fit 100 people in there. I mean, I'm surprised that you weren't part of the mafia, being able to bury so many people in that trunk.
That's kind of what
Absolutely.
bothers me out of this whole conversation. Ray talks about how many people it fit and how many of his buds had to ride in the trunk instead of in the front or back seat. I'm a little worried about that.
One of the things about Pontiacs, David, you asked, did it get him into the business? Well, Pontiacs are actually really reliable.
Right, I mean, back in the days, this thing was a carbureted vehicle, right? So, I mean, I even did things to the carburetor. Again, I didn't know what I was doing. I get into it, it was already broke, and, I just break it more, and then I get one of my mechanic friends to come help me out and fix it up, but it was fun learning how to do that on my own, and there was no YouTube back then, so, I mean, it was
Right.
all Chilton manuals if I was lucky.
That's the early days of phoning a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you definitely had to get into the parts business. I think you made mention at the very beginning that, the big thing was to get paid while you're while you're doing something fun. And I would imagine you needed quite a bit of money to run that 5.5 to 6 miles per gallon car up and down the road. I mean, I remember
Mhm.
the days when those things just sucked the gas.
Oh,
It was
absolutely.
crazy, crazy. So
Yeah.
so in your parts career, is it fair to say that a portion of your parts career was retail and a portion of it was wholesale? And can you give us a little background on really the components that really drew you to the retail side of the business and what you really got a charge out of? What was really fun for you on the wholesale side?
Yeah, absolutely. No, both have been really cool for me. I started off, of course, on the retail side as a youngster, just selling parts over the counter, dealing with regular customers. As my career grew and I realized it was the industry that I wanted to stay with, I moved into more of a role of what they call a commercial role at retail stores, dealing with commercial shops. And that really intrigued me because I was dealing with professionals that really knew how to install parts versus the do-it-yourselfers, which was cool too. Got to know those people, but dealing with the professionals and getting more quality, I guess, parts list to put together for these repair facilities and understanding that, hey, I played an important role for these service centers to get the vehicles done for their vehicles to help them with their businesses really got me excited and say, hey, man, I can actually make a difference, not just in the individual helping them out in the parking lot, but actually helping these people grow their business, help their families, grow their passion for helping other customers. So it really started getting really great in the commercial side on the retail business. And then I had the opportunity to work even further, get into the wholesale side. The wholesale side is really what got me into gear because now is on the helping the service centers on like maybe on jet fuel because now I got to see the full thing. I got to talk to business owners, got to talk to service advisors, talk to them about programs, other things that the wholesale distributor was able to offer them to grow their industry.
So it sounds like on the
Uh,
wholesale
uh,
side of the business, because you really know your customer. In other words, it's a repeat that comes back time and time and time again. Is it fair to say you develop some pretty strong relationships out there? Now, those relationships, it's sounding like right, you become more and more of a business partner for them.
That's exactly right, and that's how I go to market when I talk to my customers. I talk to them, and again, it's really good conversations with owners. One of the biggest things that I learned is when I talk to owners or managers, is their time is valuable. And when I go in and talk to them about parts, because everybody sells parts, and they ask me what's the difference from what I do, is I actually provide solutions for them to help them grow their business. For one, learn what their ambitions are, what their goals are for their industry. If they have one shop, they aspire to grow more shops, if they're going to pass them on to their children. But again, putting solutions to help them to get there. And you're right, with those kind of conversations, I built good relationships with owners. I mean, I've seen technicians at service centers grow to get their own shop, and then they're excited about that to help them get set up with either stocking programs or things that help them move their business. And then eventually they get to two, three facilities and then they keep growing their facilities to be nice, very impressive facilities for their service customers. So it's really cool. And you're right that it's funny, you and I have a long history together, and after a while, you forget how long you get to know somebody. But technicians that have grown into their own facilities, then we start reminiscing and say, "Man, you know what? That was 20 years ago that I met you." So it's pretty fun to see the growth.
That first Pontiac and a handful of Chilton manuals set the course for a lifetime in the parts business. Ray reminds us that sometimes the smallest start, just saying yes to an after school job, can launch a whole career. In the next episode, we'll dig into relationships that keep this industry turning, how helping others grow can drive your own success. Follow the show, leave a review, and share the story with someone just starting out. I'm Vic Tarasik with David Wofford. This is Driven to Success.